Please read the disclaimer. Hello, beautiful people. Shalom, moneymakers. I've got a critical XRP update. We're going to talk about what is happening this week, the key events, right? Sunday, we're going into Monday. We'll talk about the CME gap. What is it? Because people were asking in the comment section in previous videos, what does it mean? Why is it so important for crypto? Why is it important for XRP? Why is it important for Bitcoin? We'll talk about what has historically happened when Bitcoin has we'll call it the bad cross, right? What happens after that? And we'll talk about the U.S. and China deal. What's happening with that? Is it happening? Not happening? We'll talk about all these beautiful things. All I ask is that you give me a beautiful smile to send out those good vibes. Smishity smash that like button because likes are helps out. I wanted to say something, but then I regretted it. It was a little bit, I don't want another week vacation, right? So currently XRP is sitting at $2.22, Bitcoin at 94,594, actually dropped down all the way to 93,700, which is the lowest point that it has been since May, right? So we're at the bottom of potentially the movement here. We'll get to that in just a second. XRP dropped all the way to 215, but bounced off of that, coming back up to 222. So it actually had a nice bounce off of that low, and XRP did go up about 3% on the day. Now, if you are interested, right, potentially well, you know what? Let's talk about the CME gap first. I'll flip it around the way that I wanted to bring it to you. Where's the gap here? Mind the gap. All the people that go on the train, right? Sees the conductor will say, "Mind the gap," right, between the platform and the train. So you got here. You can see this yellow circle that I created. There was a gap up, right, on the CME. So I asked our good friend ChatGPT, right, and I said, "Hey, what is the CME gap and why is it so important for Bitcoin and XRP?" So it says, CME gap refers to the price gap that forms on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange Bitcoin future charts. CME is closed on weekends and certain holidays. Crypto trades 24/7. When Bitcoin moves up or down over the weekend, the CME chart jumps on Monday to catch up, right? That jump creates a gap, empty space on the chart where no trading occurred. Because Bitcoin historically fills these gaps at very high probability. A gap fill means price comes back to trade inside the empty zone, either rising or falling to meet that level. About 70 to 90% of Bitcoin CME gaps eventually get filled. Traders argue on that percentage, but the idea is the same. Most fill. This makes CME gaps a powerful magnet level for traders. Why does it matter for XRP? XRP itself doesn't have, actually it does, but ChatGPT got it wrong. It does have CME futures. It's a new thing. So actually, when you use AI and especially ChatGPT and other AIs, you have to double check things. I think even it says sometimes not everything that ChatGPT says is correct, but when Bitcoin moves to fill the gap, altcoin usually follow, and so that is why it's important. Okay, and so potentially we could see a closing of the gap. Now it doesn't mean that the gap will be the bottom, right? Because if you remember, back in November of 2024, we had a gap up as well, and it got closed. But it got closed first in February. It bounced off of that, but then it sold off again, and then it came back, and then it sold off, and the low was at 74,000 here in April. And so the bottom ended up being a little bit lower, but for the most part, it jumped off of that. So potentially, right? Again, this is only theoretical. This is just my opinion, what I'm thinking here, what I'm potentially doing. Okay, this video is for educational purposes and entertainment purposes only. Hopefully you're entertained. Please do your own due diligence before you decide to invest, okay? But we can use potentially, open a trade off of that bottom. Now, two of our partners have very interesting promotions right now. We have the Halloween special, which is going on till the end of the month. where we're doing this giveaway. So if you're interested, right, it's for people that already use my link and new people as well. And of course, we have the BYDFI, where we have the deposit bonuses that are going on as well. If you're interested, you can find the link to both of them on my website. It's linked in the description down below. These are affiliate links, so I will get a commission if you do use my links. So thank you for that. But please, please, please trade responsibly. Okay, and so we'll see potentially what can happen here. This week we have some big things that are happening. So even if we close the gap, things might get shaken up by potentially what's happening. By the way, we also have the Telegram group, which is open and free to everybody. I post the videos a little bit earlier there sometimes, and I give extra analysis and things. I've kind of had I'm trying to be more active there. And then there was, people, imposters that were coming into the group and taking content. So I want to post there, but I'm also a little bit concerned about that. I'm talking to some authorities here, see what we can get to get the Facebook ones down and the Telegram imposters down. We'll see what we can do with that, because the Facebook people you can't contact anybody. So it's a problem. But anywho, let's get back to what's happening with the Fed this week. The key events this week. So we have data is coming out, right? Because the government shutdown is over. So we have the Fed meeting minutes on Wednesday. Of course, the New York Fed manufacturing data on Monday. I don't know how much that is going to affect. This could affect big because it could shock the stock market a little bit. So we need to watch out for NVIDIA earnings on Wednesday as well. A lot of investors are, with NVIDIA, and so that could affect what people are doing. So it could affect. September job report Thursday, that's going to be very big. And then we have PMI data on Friday. And there's also a total of 14 Fed speaker events this week. Buckle up, folks. Economic data is back. So we could have lots of volatility this week with all this data coming out. So again, we have to take into consideration that even if the gap gets filled, right, we did also have I'm calling it a bad cross, right? Because I don't want to call it, this kind of cross. But when that happens, so we have what happens 1 week, week later, 2 weeks later, and so on and so on. And on average, short term, it's pretty flat. But if you go out, right, 2 months later, 3 months later, 6 months later, 9 months later, and 1 year later, the average is pretty good. So again, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the weekly candle today. Do we close the gap? Don't we close the gap? And that will be very interesting to see how it plays out. We also got information from Secretary Bessent saying that Trump administration is targeting a trade deal with China by Thanksgiving. Bessent said he's confident that China will honor the deal. We'll see. Again, remember that was one of the reasons why we got October 10th was because of the remarks from President Trump about the China situation. And then everything, there was a snowball there, everything collapsed and we had massive liquidations. And then it kind of got brushed under the table a little bit, under the rug. And now we're supposed to have a deal. Do we have a deal? Don't we have a deal? As again, this could cause a little bit of volatility as well because of the uncertainty of the situation. So we'll see again how all of this plays out. Don't forget to check out the links in the description down below if you want to join the Telegram group. It's free and open to everybody. We got the Twitter, so X. Check that out. And of course, we have the links to our partners if you're interested in opening up that and joining the competition we have there. So if you're interested, check out the links in the description down below. Drop a comment. Aid for Infinity and beyond. Of course, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't and you keep coming back to see my beautiful shaven face. I just shaved before. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. Adios.